Alright, today's day 8, reading every day. I'm at work right now, so big cuts, customers, all that stuff, but we're due around 20 minutes for Fight Club, so let's get started. It's also loud in here, so yeah. This is why I love the support group so much. If people thought you were dying, they'd give you their full attention. If this might be the last time that they saw you, they really saw you. Everything else about their checkbook balance and radio songs and messy hair went out the window. You had their full attention. People listened instead of waiting for their turn to speak. And when they spoke, they weren't telling you a story. When the two of you talked, you were building something. And afterwards, you were both different than before. Marla had started going to support groups after she found the first lump. The morning after we found her second lump, Marla hopped onto the kitchen with both legs of her pantyhose and said, "Look, I'm a mermaid." Marla said, "This isn't like when guys sit backwards on the toilet and pretend it's a motorcycle. This is a genuine accident." Just before Marla and I remaining men together, there was a first lump, and now there was a second lump. What you have to know is Marla's still alive. Marla's philosophy of life, she told me, is that you can die at any moment. The tragedy of her life is that she doesn't. When Marla found the first lump, she went to a clinic where slump scarecrow mothers sat in plastic chairs on three sides of a waiting room, with limp doll children balling their laps or lying on their feet. The children were sunken and dark around the eyes, the way oranges or bananas go bad and collapse, and their mothers scratched at mats of dandruff from the scalp of yeast infections out of control. The way the teeth in the clinic looked huge in everyone's thin face, you saw how teeth are just shards of bone that come through your skin to grind things up. This is where you end up if you have no health insurance. Before anyone knew any better, a lot of gay guys wanted children. And now, children are sick and their mothers are dying and the fathers are dead. And sitting in the hospital vomiting a smell of piss and vinegar, while a nurse asks each mother how long she's been sick and how much weight she's lost and if her child has a living parent or guardian. Marla decides no. If she was gonna die, Marla didn't want to know about it. Marla walked around the corner to the clinic, to City Laundry, and stole all the jeans out the dryers, then walked to the dealer who gave her $15 per pair. Then Marla bought herself some really good pantyhose, the kind that don't run. Even the good kind that don't run, Marla says. They snag, nothing is static, everything's falling apart. Marla started going to support groups since it was easier because to be around other human butt wipes. Everyone has something wrong, and for a while, her heart just sort of flatlined. Marla started a job prepaid funeral plans for a mortuary, where sometimes great fat men, but usually fat women, will come out the mortuary showroom carrying a crematorious disputed urn the size of an egg cup. And Marla would sit there at her desk in the foyer with her dark hair tied down and her snag pantyhose and breast lump and doom, and say, "Madame, don't flatter yourself. You couldn't even get your burned up head into anything that tiny. Go back and get the urn the size of a bowling ball." Marla's heart looked the way my face was, the crap and trash of the world, the post-consumer human butt wipe that no one would ever go to the trouble to recycle. Between the support groups and clinics, Marla told me she had met a lot of people who were dead. These people were dead on the other side, and at night they called on the telephone. Marla would go to bars and hear the bartender calling her name. When she shook the line, the call was death. At the time, she thought this was hitting bottom. When you're 24, Marla says, you have no idea how far you can really fall. Well, I wasn't fast then. The first time Marla filled a crematory urn, she didn't wear a face mask. She there blew her nose and there was tissue, and the tissue was a black mess of Mr. Whoever. In the house on Paper Street, if the old phone rang only once and you picked it up, the line was dead. You knew it was someone trying to reach Marla. This happened more than you might think. In the house on Paper Street, a police detective started calling about my condominium explosion, and Tyler stood with his chest against my shoulder, whispering into my ear while I hit the phone. On the other ear. And the detective asked if I knew anyone who could make homemade dynamite. Disaster is a natural part of my evolution, Tyler whispered. To word and tragedy and dissolution. I told the detective that it was the refrigerator that blew up my condo. I'm breaking my attachment to physical power and possessions, Tyler whispered. Because only through destroying myself can I just discover the greater power of my spirit. The dynamite, the detective said, there are impurities and residue of pneumonia, ammonium oxalate, and potassium tetrachloride that might mean the bomb was homemade and the devil on the front door was shattered. I said I was in Washington, D.C. that night. The detective on the phone explained how someone sprayed a canister of Freon on the double lock and tapped the lock with a cold chisel to start the shadow to slip. This is the way criminals are stealing bikes. The liberator who destroys my property, Tyler says, is fighting to save my spirit. The teacher who clears all professions from my path will set me free. The detective said whoever set the homemade dynamite could have turned on the gas and blown out the pilot lights on the stove days before the explosion took place. The gas was just a trigger. It would take days for the gas to fill the condo before it reached the compressor at the base of the refrigerator, and the compressor's electric motor set off the explosion. Tell him, Tyler whispered. Yes, you did it. Yes, you blew it all up. That's what you want to do. I tell the detective, no, I did not leave the gas on, then leave town. I love my life. I love that condo. I love every stick of furniture. That was my whole life. Everything, the lamps, the chairs, the rugs were me. The dishes and the cabinets were me. The plants were me. The television was me. It was me that blew up. Couldn't you see that? The detective said not to leave town. Mr. His Honor. Mr. Chapter President of the local chapter of the National United Projectionists and the Independent Theater Operations Union is SAP. Under and behind, and everything inside the man took for granted. Something horrible had been growing. Nothing is static. Everything is falling apart. I know this because Tyler knows this. For 3 years, Tyler had been doing this film build-up and breakdown for chain movie houses. A movie travels in 6 or 7 small reels, packed in a metal case. Tyler's job was to splice the small reels together in a single 5'4" reels that self-threading and rewinded projectors could handle. After 3 years, 7 theaters, at least 3 screens per theater, new shoots every week, Tyler to handle hundreds of prints. Too bad, but with more self-threading and rewinding projectors, the union didn't need Tyler anymore. Mr. Chaplin, president, had to call Tyler for a little sit-down. The work was boring and the pay was so crap, so the president of the United Union of United Projection Operators, Independent, and United Theaters United said it was doing Tyler a chapter favor by giving him the diplomatic shaft. Don't think this as a rejection. Think of it as downsizing. Right up the butt, but Minister Chaplin, president himself, says, we appreciate your contribution to our success. Oh, that wasn't a problem, Tyler said, and grinned. As long as the union kept sending paychecks, he'd keep his mouth shut. Tyler said, think of this as early retirement with pension. Tyler had handled hundreds of prints. Movies had gone back to the distributor, movies had gone back and released. Comedy, drama, musicals, romance, and action adventure, spliced with Tyler's single-frame flashes of pornography. Sodomy, Philadelphia, cunningness, bondage. Tyler had nothing to lose. Tyler was a pawn of the world, everybody's trash. This is what Tyler rehearsed me to tell the manager of the Pressman Hotel 2. At Tyler's other job, at the Pressman Hotel, Tyler said he was a nobody. Nobody cared if he lived or died. We back, had a little customer. Let's see. Okay, more customers, but I'll be back again. Alright, we back again. Let's see here. Pick up the video where I left off. Here's what Tyler rehearsed me to tell the manager of the Pressman Hotel 2. At Tyler's other job, I think I already read this. No one cared if he lived or died, and the feeling was fucking mutual. This is what Tyler told me to say in the hotel manager's office with security guards sitting outside the door. Tyler and I stayed up late and traded stories after everything was over. Right after I got to the projectionist units, Tyler had me go and confront the manager of the Pressman Hotel. Tyler and I were looking more and more like identical twins. Both of us punched out our cheekbones and our skin had lost its memories, and forgot what side to slide back to after we were hit. My bruises were from his fight club. Tyler's face was punched out of shape by the president of the projectionist union. After Tyler cut out the union's office, I went to see the manager of the Pressman Hotel. I sat there in the office of the manager of the Pressman Hotel. I am Joe smirking revenge. First thing the hotel manager said was, I had 3 minutes. In my first 30 seconds, I told how I've been peeing into soup, farting the creme brulee, sneezing on braised and knives, and now I wanted the hotel to send me a check every week equivalent to my average weekly pay plus tips. In return, I wouldn't come back to work anymore. I wouldn't go to the newspapers or public house with the confused, tearful confession, the headlines. Troubled waiter admits to changing food. Sure, I said, I might go to prison. They could hand me and yank my nuts off and drag me through the streets and flame my skin and burn me with lye, but the Pressman Hotel would always be known as the hotel with the richest people in the world, AP. Tyler's words coming out of my mouth. I used to be such a nice person. At the projectionist union office, Tyler had laughed after the union president punched him. The one punch knocked Tyler out of his chair, and Tyler sat against the wall laughing. Go ahead, you can't kill me. Tyler was laughing. You stupid fuck, beat the crap out of me, but you can't kill me. You have too much to lose. I have nothing. You have everything. Go ahead, right in the gut. Take another shot at my face. Cave in my teeth. You'll keep those paychecks coming. Crack my ribs, but if you miss one pay, I go to the public, and you and your little union go down under lawsuits from every theater owner and film distributor, and mommy whose kid maybe saw hard on a flash of Bambi. I am trash, Tyler said. I am trash to you and crazy to you and this whole fucking world. Tyler said to the union president, you don't care where I live or how I feel or what I eat or how I feed my kids or how I pay the doctor if I get sick, and yes, I am stupid and bored and weak, but I'm still your responsibility. Sitting in the office at the Pressman Hotel, my Fight Club lips were still split into 10 segments. The butthole in my cheek looking at the manager of the Pressman Hotel was pretty convincing. Basically, I said the same stuff Tyler said. After the union president had slugged Tyler in the floor, and after Mr. President saw Tyler wasn't fighting back, his honor, with his big Cadillac body, bigger and stronger than he would ever need, his honor hauled his wingtip back and kicked Tyler in the ribs, and Tyler laughed. His honor shot the wingtip into Tyler's kidneys after Tyler curled into a ball, but Tyler was still laughing. Get it out, Tyler said. Trust me, you'll feel a lot better. You'll feel great. In the office of the Pressman Hotel, I asked the hotel manager if I could use his phone, and I dialed a number for the city desk at the newspaper. With the hotel manager watching, I said, hello. I've committed a terrible crime against humanity as a part of a political protest. My protest is over the exploitation of workers in the service industry. If I went to prison, I wouldn't just be an unbalanced peon diddling in the soup. This would have a heroic scale. Robin Hood, waiter, champion, have-nots. This would be a lot more about one hotel and one waiter. The manager of the Pressman Hotel very gently took the receiver out of my hand. The manager said he didn't want me working here anymore, and not the way I look now. I'm standing at the head of the manager's desk, and when I say, what, you don't like the idea of this? And without flinching, still look at the manager, I roundhouse the fist at the centrifugal force end of my arm and slam fresh blood out the cracked scabs in my nose. For no reason at all, I remember the night Tyler and I had our first fight. I want you to hit me as hard as you can. This isn't such a hard punch. I punched myself again. It looks good. All the blood. I'm about to throw myself back against the wall to make a terrible noise and break the painting that hangs there. The broken glass in the frame and the painting of flowers and blood go to the floor, with me clowning around. I'm being such a doofus. Blood gets on the carpet, and I reach up and grip a monster handprints of blood on the edge of the hotel manager's desk and say, "Please help me." But I start to giggle. "Help me, please. Please don't hit me again." I slip back on the floor and crawl my blood across the carpet. The first word I'm going to say is, "Please," so I keep my lips shut. The monster drags itself across the lovely bouquets and garlands of the oriental carpet. The blood falls out my nose and slides down the back of my throat into my mouth. Hot. The monster crawls across the carpet, hot, and picks up the lint and does sticking to the blood on its claws. And it crawls close enough to grab the manager of the Pressman Hotel around his pinstriped ankle and say it. "Please, say it." "Please" comes out in a bubble of blood. "Please" comes out in a bubble of blood. "Say it, please." And the bubble pops, blood all over. And this is how Tyler was free to start Fight Club every night of the week. After this, there were 7 Fight Clubs. And after that, there were 15 Fight Clubs. And after that, there were 27. And after that, there were 50 Fight Clubs. And after that, there were 23 Fight Clubs. And Tyler wanted more. There was always money coming in. "Please," asked the manager of the Pressman Hotel. "Give me the money." And I giggle again. "Please. And please don't hit me again. You have so much and I have nothing." And I start to climb my blood up the pinstripe legs of the manager of the Pressman Hotel, who was leaning back hard with his hand on the Winslow behind him, and even his thin lips retreating from his teeth. The monster hooks his bloody claws in the waistband of the manager's pants and pulls itself up to clutch the white starch shirt. And I wrap my bloody hands around the manager's smooth wrists. "Please," I smile big enough to split my lips. There's a struggle as the manager screams and tries to get his hands away from me and my blood and my crushed nose. The filth sticking to the blood on both of us. And right then, at our most excellent moment, security's walking inside. The security guards decide to walk in. All right, that was a cool 17 pages. I'm gonna continue later. When I get home, I'll read a little bit in my head and just keep reading. This was a good, nice, however many minutes, 15-ish minutes. Yeah, I think I'm improving every day by day. It just takes progress. It takes a lot of time. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes from here. I'm gonna definitely get to 100 days. I know I've missed a couple of days. I'm just so busy. It's hard, but yeah, I'm gonna do that. Peace out.